Hello, everyone. Bonjour, teachers and students. Welcome back. My name is Larissa Peich, for those of you who have not joined before, and I work with agriculture in the classroom Manitoba, and we welcome you all here today. Today is our final Follow the Farmers live stream event offering for this school year. Hard to believe that we're almost in June. And today we will be taking you to two different hog farming operations in Manitoba. The first is a genetics farm, where Andrea raises female pigs to be mama pigs on other farms. And then we'll be heading over to Craig's farm, which is a farrow to finish or birth to market operation in Manitoba. Teachers and students, please take a moment to say hi in the chat. We would love to hear where you're coming in from today. These farm tour videos, of course, cannot be possible without all of the sponsorship and partnerships that we have in the industry. We want to give a big shout out and thank you to Penner Farm Services for being our video sponsor. Thank you for partnering with us and helping us educate more students across Manitoba about agriculture. A big thank you as well to Manitoba Pork for their time and input towards making this event and resources that come with it a big success. And of course, to our farmers, Andrea and Craig, who you'll meet very shortly, thank you for opening up your farms to us and sharing your passion for what you do. Today, we are streaming on both our Agriculture in the Classroom YouTube channel and Facebook page. As a reminder, teachers, if you would like to post questions in the YouTube chat, you do have to sign into your YouTube account to do so. So please make sure that you do that before we jump into the Q&A later on. After the farm tour, as usual, we'll be having some live questions answered with our two farmers, Andrea and Craig. But without further ado, I know you're all anxious to meet them. Let's introduce our hog farmers. Andrea Elias grew up on a farm that raised livestock. Then she went to college and got her animal health tech diploma before she chose a career in hog farming. She has been raising pigs for 20 years because she just loves pigs that much. Andrea finds her job very rewarding, and her love for animals makes it so much fun for her to go to work every day. Andrea is married and she has two teenage children, and her entire family shares a love for animals and even has their own small flock of chickens at home. Super cool. Craig Sawatzky has been farming for decades in southeastern Manitoba. He grew up on a family farm, is a third-generation farmer, and has been farming all of his life. He farms with his two brothers, his cousin, his dad, and three uncles. His sow barn has 3,500 sows, and he manages 9 employees. Craig is married with 3 young children, and he enjoys hog farming for all the challenges it brings every day, and is so excited to be welcoming all of you here today to learn a little bit more. Students, let's say hello to Andrea and Craig. Hello, you two.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Andrea, can you let us know where you're joining from today? What area of your farm are you in right now?
I am actually in one of our farrowing rooms. That is the room where the moms come in to give birth to their litters. We actually have a couple of litters that are being had right now, so it's a busy room right now.
Awesome. And how about you, Craig? Where are you joining us from? I see that you have a little bit of a different setup behind you there.
Yes, I am joining you from my gestation barn, which is where all of my pregnant mamas are. This where they stay until they would go to a room exactly like Andrea's sitting in right now in the farrowing.
Very, very cool. And when are all these mamas due to have their piglets, Craig?
So these ones you see behind me here and these pens back here are all going to give birth on June 10th or very close to that date.
June 10th. Very soon. Yep. Awesome. Yep. Thanks, you two. All right, so teachers and students, like I said earlier, feel free to add any questions into the comment section throughout the farm tour. We're so excited to show you Andrea and Craig's farm, and without further ado, we are going to dive right in.
Hi, this is Andrea Elias, and we are in a swine farm in southern Manitoba. I've been managing this farm for 8 years, and we grow and breed breeding stock for other farms. These pigs that you see behind me are gonna go be mothers at other farms in the community and also in Eastern Canada and some maybe even to the US. Pigs throughout their lives are called a few different things. So a female pig is called a gilt. And then when she has her first litter of piglets, that is when she becomes a sow. So when they're born, right up till they're about 3 weeks old, they're called a piglet. And in 3 weeks, when they get weaned from their mom, they're called a weanling. The males are called a boar until they have been castrated. So once they've been castrated, they're called a barrow. And the reason that boars are castrated is that they're less aggressive as they grow. They grow faster, they've got a little bit more body fat, and that makes it a more tasty product. They become a meat product. We are in the breeding barn. This is where it all starts. This is the barn where the cows become pregnant. The average weight of a sow would be between 350, 450 pounds. And I'd say she's probably pretty close to 400. This here would probably be the equivalent weight of 4 to 5 grade 5 students. She's pretty heavy, but she's also pretty calm too. They're gentle giants. Our sows all have ear tags. This helps us keep track of the pig as she goes through her life. Along the floor here are their troughs. So they have access to fresh water all day long, every day. Their feed boxes are adjustable. We put feed into their feed box twice a day. You'll also notice that the sprinklers are running. It gives the sow a little bit of a shower. And then with the airflow through, it helps keep her cool when it's really hot outside. In order to detect pregnancy in the pigs, we use an ultrasound, and I just check right in their underbelly. Those black dots, those are all the little piglets that are growing inside. Once we know that they're pregnant, we move them to the gestation barn. Now we are in the gestation barn. Gestation is just another word for being pregnant. The sows are pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. This is the barn where the sows will live until they're ready to have their litter of piglets. We are now in the farrowing rooms. So this room of mums all had their babies within the last 4 to 5 days. These sows have an average of 13 to 15 live babies. When babies are born, they're 2 to 3 pounds. This guy was born yesterday. You can see he still has his cord, and he is a very healthy birth weight. These tiny tags are the ones that they get when they're born. So the process is done the day that they're born, and it's no different than getting an ear pierced. It helps us keep track of her and her family history and her own history coming up. When the sows farrow, we do move them into these farrowing crates. So the reason we do this is because we want to protect the piglets from potentially getting crushed by the mother. As you can see, she's quite a bit bigger than they are. And these bars protect her from flopping down on top of them, or perhaps falling or stumbling and potentially injuring the piglets. So she has a food area in front of her. She has a trough. She has water available to her at all times. The piglets have their warm area, and this also allows her to stay in an area that's cooler than where the piglets are. Another reason we keep them in here is because mums can be protective, and if we want to work it all with these piglets, we don't want her to be injuring staff because she feels that her piglets are in danger. So when we want to handle the piglets, it's easier if she is in her own space. We can work with them. They're safe, she's safe, and we as staff are safe when we're working with them. When we are taking care of newborn piglets, we want to make sure that the room is nice and warm, that the mums are comfortable, and that the piglets have a warm place to sleep. They have a heat pad, and we also have a heat lamp hanging above them so that it gives them heat from above and from below. So each of the rooms on the farm has its own climate. Newborn piglets want that room to be 23 degrees. When they move to the nursery, they like that room to be 30 degrees. And then as they grow, that temperature lowers. This is a tool that helps us control the temperature, the humidity in the room, how fast the fans are going, and we can adjust those settings at any time to accommodate how old those piglets are in the room. When they move down to the nursery, we use these two tools. Piglets don't love noise, so if I want them to move forward, I shake it behind them, they will move forward. The chase boards we use because pigs' sight isn't that great. So if they see a wall in front of them, they see it as I can't go that way and they will walk away from it. We put them into that pen right there. There is a scale actually in the floor of that pen. That gives us an average weight. So we get the readout here and we have it in this case to protect it from moisture. This is the group of piglets that we chased down the hallway earlier. Pigs have a dominance order and they like to have a pen boss, and they fight and they scrap and they need to figure out what's going to happen in the pen according to their order. The pigs that win that battle and the pigs that are labeled the top dog of the pen, those are the ones that get to eat first. Those are the ones that drink first. Those are the ones that get everything first. This is their baby food. It has all the nutrition in it that they need. It's gonna help them to grow quickly so that they get to the next stage of feed. So these pigs have been in this barn for 9 weeks. So they have already been through their baby food ration, their second ration, and they're on their third, which is preparing them to move to the finishing barn. Our pigs are fed with an automatic feed system. It fills each of these feeders with their ration. So this is what it looks like. It's finely ground grain formulated with vitamins, minerals, premixes, all the things that they need for every different stage of growth. All of our feed is formulated by a swine nutritionist. The pigs are 50 to 60 pounds or 11 weeks old. They move to our finishing barn. These pigs have food available to them all the time. They have water available to them all the time. So they have more opportunity to go and eat. So if there's a pen full of pigs and say there's one that's maybe not as big or maybe not as aggressive, we don't have to worry about her getting a chance to eat because there's always food available and nobody eats all day long. So they will go and everyone has opportunity to eat when they need to. You'll see behind me, we've got fans running in the walls. So when it's hot out, there are inlets in the ceiling and these fans pull air from outside into the attic and then down into the barn, which gives them a really nice breeze, which helps keep them cool. For manure management, of course, all pigs go to the bathroom. So we have slatted floors on top of a shallow pit. So there's a pit underneath here that is about 3 to 4 feet deep. And every 2 weeks, I pull the plug, we empty it, and it gets pumped into a lagoon that's outside. And then once a year, that manure is injected into the soil so you don't smell it, you don't even know that it's going on. And it provides the farmers with great fertilizer for their land. There's a lot of different people that help us to keep our farm running smoothly and our pigs healthy. We depend on our herd vet, who comes in at least once a month to monitor their health. We have a swine nutritionist specializing in pig food. We also have a production team through our genetic company that helps me with any questions, concerns, or things that could be happening here. We also have staff that work at the barn helping with all the day-to-day tasks, and we really appreciate them. I think every single staff that we have here right now did not have any pig experience before they came to work for the farm. So it is something that you can learn easily, and it's a really rewarding job, and they enjoy it here a lot.
My name is Craig Sawatzky, and I am the owner here at Blue Ribbon Swine, located in southeastern Manitoba near Pansy. So we are a family-run farm, started in 1967, and was started by my grandpa and his 3 sons. And my dad joined the farm later on, and now me, my 2 brothers, and a cousin are running the hog side of the farm. We run 3,500 sows, farrow to finish. And so that would include finishing up to approximately 85,000 pigs a year. Our pigs provide meat like bacon, ham, lunch meats. Pork is very nutritious. It's an excellent source of protein and can be used and prepared in an incredible amount of different ways. And it is the #1 protein in the world. This barn here is the farrowing barn. So we have all the mamas. We raise the pigs until they're weaned. And once they're weaned, we bring them to a nursery barn. We purchase all of our feed and it's delivered into bins. And from there, it runs on a chain disc loop system to the individual feeders. We use RFID feeding in the farrowing house. The sows have an ID tag that will scan when they go to the feeder, and that will automatically drop their feed for them. Our moms get about 5 to 6 pounds of feed every day, and a growing pig gets as much as he can eat. On our farm, the Maximus system controls pretty much everything on the farm. It regulates feed. We can track how much water is being used. It runs all of our ventilation. We use the software program for all of our data entry. I can track all of the information on my phone and have real-time access to my farm from anywhere. Animal welfare within the hog industry is very important. We try as hard as we can to give the animals the best conditions possible. We are in the business of raising animals to make a living. The important thing for raising a healthy pig is having clean air, clean water, and good food. And if you do all those things right, then you should get a healthy, happy pig. So on our farm, there are lots of people involved who don't necessarily work here, but help the farm run on a day-to-day basis. People like our vet, our feed salesman, the people who deliver our feed from the feed mill, all the people who work at the feed mill making the feed. There are people that work at the stores where I buy supplies. There are lots of people connected in this industry that I rely on every day. I really enjoy working with pigs. They are very, very smart. Pigs have an excellent sense of smell and an excellent sense of hearing, but their eyesight is not so good. They are a fun animal to raise and to deal with, and it provides some challenges, and it's a good profession to be in.
All right, we're back. Thank you so much, Andrew and Craig. How did it feel watching that up on your screen?
It was really good.
Awesome.
It's different to see your face on the screen, but
Yeah, we're famous now.
I bet. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So kids, make sure you listen carefully over the next little bit, because you have pigs behind you, both Andrew and Craig, and sometimes pigs can be a little bit noisy, but that's okay, kids. You can hear what they sound like in the everyday life of a farmer, and we'll take it as it goes. So I want to thank the two of you, first of all, for bringing us onto your farms and for being a part of this program and showing us the hard work that you do every day, how you care for your pigs, and how you help provide healthy meat for our tables. So thank you for all that you do. And we're going to head into our question and answer period. This is the best part of the event, where kids get some of their questions answered by you, our farmers. And there were 4 questions that were sent in prior to the event that we're going to start with. And the first one is from Derek Tuck. He's a grade 3 student from John DeGraff Elementary. And Derek is wondering, how many pigs does a mother have in a year? And Andrea, I'm going to get you to answer this one.
okay. So our sows usually have about 2 litters per year, sometimes an extra, but their usual turnaround is about 2 a year. So these sows can have as few as 5, 6, 7 pigs, and right up to, I've had sows that have had 20 to 24 pigs. So it can go anywhere from 16 to over 40. It depends on the sow, but they can have a lot of babies.
Wow, amazing. 40. I didn't know that many. Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. Thank you very much, Andrea. Craig, I'm going to throw this next one your way. It's from Nori. She's a grade 5-6 student from Meadows Elementary, and she is wondering, do different types of pigs make different types of food?
So every pig you see will make pork. So if it's bacon or pork chops or any other type of pork you get, you will get pork from that pig. But there are different types of pigs, and some pigs will have different types of pigs might have more fatty tissue in their meat. So if you like a real fatty piece of meat, you might want to raise this type of pig. And if you don't like that, you might want a real lean meat, and you'll choose a different type of pig. But in the end, it's all going to be pork.
Good answer. So the spots and the coloring doesn't affect anything. It's just a different type
you
of
see
pig.
different. You saw in the videos, you saw lots of different colored pigs, and that doesn't change what the product is.
Okay. Good question, Nori. All right. So our next one is from Lily from Lieutenant Colonel Barker School, and she's a grade 3-4 student. And I'm going to throw this both your ways. And since, Andrea, we have you up on the screen, I'll go to you first. She is wondering, is being a pig farmer a hard job?
Being a pig farmer it's a busy job. Some days it's hard, and some days it's not as busy. But there's a lot of really good things and a lot of fun things to do. And some days are really busy, and some days you can really just sit back and enjoy it. But I mean, yeah, some days are harder than others, but most days are really, really enjoyable.
And it sounds like, from what's going on behind you, that the next few days will probably be some of the busier ones for you.
Yeah, they will be.
Lots of babies to come. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how about you, Craig? How would you answer this question? How do you find pig farming really hard?
I would agree with Andrea that some days you will have very easy days, and other days will be hard work. And depending on the busyness of your schedule, that kind of affects your day to day. But for the most part, it's not a very hard job, but there would just be times where it can be difficult.
Definitely. Different times of year where certain things are going on, or busier days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Andrea in the middle of a farrowing day where they're all giving birth, you have to stay there extra time to make sure they're all coming out okay and everything is going smoothly. So those days are always a bit harder.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm wondering, just as you said that, Craig, when your sows are farrowing, do you usually have a vet on site for that process, or is that something that your team monitors on your own entirely?
That would be something that our team monitors. The vet would be more so if there would be something that we see might be an issue that we're not sure about, but the vet does not show up here every day to come to work. They would only come when I call them for something I might need help with.
Okay. So your team's really busy then when it's time to for those sows to give birth. Very, very neat. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Our last pre-submitted question here. I like this one. It's from Shelley Elliott, and she's from Newdale Colony School. And she was wondering, do pigs sweat? Do you want to take this one, Craig?
Sure. Pigs do not sweat. They can't do that. So when they get warm, they will usually try to find somewhere wet to lay down into. And then that helps when the air is blowing by them, that helps cool them off. And they do sometimes, if they get really hot, they will pant a bit. But for the most part, they rely on trying to get wet and getting the air running over them. That's the best way they can cool down.
And something that I found interesting that I learned in preparing for this event was that pigs actually like to stay clean. A lot of storybooks talk about pigs rolling in mud puddles and to stay cool that way, but it actually seems like it's the opposite, right? Very, very cool. Okay, so that's it for the questions that came in prior to the event. So if the two of you are ready, we're going to open up the floodgates to some of our live questions. And I see that already one has popped up here. And Abigail Cross is wondering, why are pigs called hogs? Craig, I'm going to throw this one your way, and then we'll bring the next one to Andrea.
I actually don't know the answer to that question. I'm not sure why they're called hogs.
Stumped you. How about you,
maybe
Andrea?
someone can find out for me.
I think there's a lot of different words to term pigs. They can be called swine, they can be called pigs, they're called hogs, they're called all kinds of different things. It's just another, in my opinion, it's just another term to describe a pig.
Okay, so hogs, swine,
just a generalized
pigs.
term. It would kind of include everything, whereas you can get more specific names for, say, the boys and the girls and the babies and the mums, but this is kind of a generalized statement. That's how I would say it anyway.
Yeah. And maybe it's because we often hear the term like don't hog all the food, right? And so sometimes pigs, if there's just a little bit of food, the boss in the pen will say, "No, this is mine, and no one else can have any." And maybe that's why the question was asked. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that could be actually. Who knows? It's a mystery. I'll have to look into that further. Thanks, you two. All right, what else do we have here? Melissa Friesen. How old can a pig get before it passes away? So what's the average lifespan of a pig? Andrea, do you mind taking that one?
Sure. We've had some sows here that have been here for 3 years. Don't tell my genetics company that, but they can be around for quite a while, and it all depends on, of course, their genetics and how healthy they are. It all depends on how healthy they are.
Same thing for humans and all other types of
Yeah, very
animals,
much
right?
the same thing for people. But I would say lifespan, I'm sure they can live a very long time. But for me, I would say 5-6 years would be the longest I've ever seen one last here.
Okay. Thanks, Andrea. All right, what do we have next coming here? Thanks, Melissa, for that question. Laura Cox. Does it hurt the sow when the piglets nurse? And Andrea, I'll get you to take this one too, since you're up on the screen, and then we'll go to Craig next.
Okay, so it does not hurt the sow when the piglets nurse. That's how they drink. It's nature's way of getting them fed, and that's how she feeds her babies. So when she does feed them, they feed when they're younger, they feed more times a day, but as they get older, they feed less and less during the day. And when it's feeding time, she calls them, they drink. Once that feeding time is over, it lasts about 30 seconds to a minute, it's done, and then they move on and do other things until the next feeding time. So it's not like they're drinking all day and getting her tired or sore. They come for meal time, and then they're done.
Interesting. And it's the mom's job to call them when it's time to nurse. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they'll tell her too when they're hungry, because they're like, okay, it's been long enough. I think we're ready for lunch. And then they'll all kind of tell her, and then she'll lie down and, okay, fine. And then she'll feed them. And that's kind of how they're on a schedule, just like people are, right? Like it's lunchtime, it's supper time. And that's, she'll either call them or they'll let her know that they're hungry.
Very neat. Very, very neat. Thanks, Andrea. Oh, we have another one. I think another one from Abigail is coming through here. Craig, Abigail is wondering, does it hurt when they tag the pigs, when they get that little tag in their ear?
They would feel a little pinch, just like if anyone has ever got their ears pierced. You'll feel that pinch right away, and it might hurt for a little bit after that, but it's not something that hurts them for a long time, or it would just be that initial pinch. Just like it's exactly like getting a ear piercing.
Yeah, that's what I figured. A little pinch, and then it goes away. And it's amazing how those tags look so much bigger when they're small little piglets. And then as they grow, they actually are quite small in comparison to their overall ear. It's interesting to see that. Yeah. Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
All right, we have Brittany Bell. She's wondering, do pigs fight? Do you have any other animals on the farm? This looks like it's from a student named Richard. Craig, do you want to? It's kind of a two-pronged question here.
Yes. So pigs do fight, but only when they get mixed into a new pen or a new group together. So like you see these girls behind me here,
Mhm.
When we first put them in a pen, they have to establish who's the boss in the pen. So there's one sow, she'll be the boss of the pen, and everyone else underneath her. So sometimes you get one or two sows that decide like, oh no, I want to be the boss, and then they have to fight for a little bit to decide who is in charge. And that process is usually over within a day.
Okay.
It's they establish that very quick because they don't want to spend all their time fighting either, and
Mhm.
so they got better things to do than fight all day. So they get their order lined up, and then they're good.
Interesting. Do I be asking you, Craig, just as you're answering that, does the boss pig have anything to do with their size or their weight, or is it mainly based on their personality and their desire to be the boss? Like, do you have any
It
information on
it
that?
Oftentimes it is a bigger animal that will be the boss of the pen, but not always. No, sometimes you will see a smaller animal it would be higher on the pecking order than a bigger sow, and that would be more of a personality where some sows just it's not worth it to fight. I'll eat when it's my turn, and I'm not going to fight over it, right?
Hmm.
So, but for the most part, you'll often see that the boss in the pen will be one of the bigger animals. Yes.
Okay. And I know that you also grow crops on your farm, Craig, but are there any other animals that you have on your farm? Richard's wondering.
No, we only have pigs on our farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Andrea, that's the same for you, obviously. Genetics farm.
Yeah.
You have pigs, other than your
We
chickens
just
at
have
home.
pigs. Yeah. Chickens and cats.
Chickens and cats. Awesome. Good combination. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Wendy Semler. Hi, Wendy. She is wondering, how much does it cost to raise a pig? So from the amount of feed that they eat, from all the way through the process. How do you feel about taking that one on, Andrea?
I can try. I'm not going to be able to give you an exact number because
Okay.
that would be kind of difficult. But there are a lot of different factors to take into account. Say you would get even a young pig, a 3-week-old pig, depending where you're housing it and the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to have bedding and a heat source and shelter and water. And right now, pig food is very, very expensive. Like very, very expensive. So pigs eat quite a bit. Like Craig said in his video, once they get to a certain point, they eat as much as they want all day. They're not going to overeat, but at the same time, I would say eat probably, I don't know, Craig, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Finishers eat about 5 to 6 pounds a day, if not a bit more. Mother sows eat 5 to 6 pounds a day. Some of the sows in here, when they're feeding their babies and they're using a lot of energy to feed those big babies, can be eating up to 20 to 22 pounds of feed a day. So
Wow.
depending on what kind of pigs you have, I would say your feed is probably going to be your biggest cost, and then your shelter and your housing and your facilities and water and your heat source too. So it's a lot of different factors to take into account.
Yes, definitely. Anything you want to add, Craig, to that?
No, like Andrea said, right now, like the cost of all the feed ingredients is quite high, and so if you look at it, sometimes normally it might cost to get a pig out of a sow barn. The cost would be about $35 per piglet that
Oh,
gets
wow.
sent. That's what it would cost. That's approximate. So
Yeah.
about that. That would cover all the feed costs and all the labor costs, like you paying the employees and all that stuff. So
not cheap to
no,
hog farm.
no.
Okay. Thank you, you two. All right. Megan, we have a question from Megan Alana here. How many different breeds of pigs are there? And this is from her student Blair out at Gilbert Plains School. Can you answer this one, Craig? Do you have an idea of how many breeds of pigs there are?
I wouldn't know how many. I know there are lots, lots and lots and lots of different types of pigs. And so in my farm, it's a very select group of genetics that we use. And so those pigs are we select those pigs for being able to grow good quality finisher pigs, and also for the moms that they would have good qualities for being a good mother, like
Hmm.
being able to have lots of babies and also being able to milk lots for those babies. So
Right.
the genetics of the sows is important, and that's all been selected over the, like, long years of work has gone into that of
Hmm.
selecting for these traits over these traits, and so that's how that works. So on my farm, there's very few different types of genetics. It's kind of one type of mom and one
Yeah.
type of dad, and but in the world, there's lots and lots and lots of different types.
And the pigs behind you, Craig, what gene type or what genetics trait are these pigs? What are they
So
called?
a mama pig here, these would be mostly would be called large white or a
Okay.
land race, and that would be mixed up. They would those would be really good qualities of genetics for a mom, and there's
Hmm.
probably some others in there too. And then for the dads, we use it's called a Duroc boar, and
Okay.
that's where when you see piglets with lots of different types of colors, that all comes from Papa. Yeah, the sows here, there's almost no coloring. There,
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons why that sow is called a large white, because she doesn't have a lot of different spots or speckles, but the daddy pigs would have lots of color, lots of spots.
Okay. Very interesting. Hmm. How about you, Andrea? What breed do you raise on your farm? Thanks, Craig.
Um, we have landrace as well. We have purebred landrace, so that is just one type. That
Hmm.
is the only kind of sow that we have here. As Craig said, he only uses one kind of dad. We
Hmm.
have we have two different kinds. So we have landrace dads, so we always only have white piglets. And then we
Right.
also have York dads as well to make what's called a crossbreed, which some of the customers we have like using those for mums. They have good traits as well. But in
Hmm.
order to make those, we have to have these. So we have those two. We also, I mean, this could be a conversation that lasts a long time, but we have what are called Mishans as well. We raise our own boars here. Some of our customers like having their own boars too, just to have with their sows.
Hmm.
And they're black. And I've got two sows like that in this whole herd. So they're very special to me.
Aw, very neat. And I saw you were tending to one of the sows behind you. Was she having a?
Yeah, no, the same piglet got lost. So
Oh, okay.
I had to show him. I have to show them sometimes where the milk is.
Well,
I
they're
think
lucky to
he's
have
there
you.
again.
All right, so we have another question here, and this looks like, well, it's come from room 113. I'm not sure from what school, but they're wondering, why do some of the pigs have an arrow or an X on them? Andrea, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so my sows do have an X on them, and that is actually way back from breeding time. So when we breed these sows, we use AI, and that's artificial insemination. We don't do any natural matings on farm. So a lot of the time, we do more than one mating. And that X is the one stripe is one mating, the second stripe is the next mating. They can have three stripes even sometimes, but that is just telling us that she was mated, and the color of the X is going to tell us what kind of dad that they have and what to expect when they do farrow.
Okay, and the thing that you use to make that marking, it kind of just looks like almost like a large glue stick, right? It's kind of like a.
Yeah, we have wax markers, and the ones we use on the sows are like a spray can. It's like spray paint, but it's animal safe, obviously. So it just helps that mark stay on there for a long time, because it's been on her for her whole pregnancy, and now even into the farrowing group and back into the cycle. It'll probably stay on there for a while.
Very neat. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for that question, room 113. All right, Brittany Bell is wondering, Craig, I'll throw this one your way if that's okay. Scarlett, a grade 3 student, she's wondering, do the pigs ever get cold from the fans?
Certainly not in summer. And in summer, they love the more wind you can whistle through the barn, the better it is. They love it when it's super windy. That helps keep them cool. And in wintertime, the fans don't run very fast because it's cold outside. So the fans are running very slow, so they don't get a big breeze like that. And we also have heaters that if it does get extra cold, then we have heaters that turn on and can heat the room as well. So no, the fans don't get cold from the fans.
And I guess your heaters were running a little bit more often this past winter, I take it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're all waiting for those hot days where the fans will need to be blowing, or counting the days down. At least I am. Thanks, Greg. All right, Wendy, another question. Awesome. So Gladstone Elementary is wondering, when do they become bacon? Craig, are you okay diving into this one?
Yes. So from the time they're born to the time they get to become bacon takes about 6 months. It's very quick. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about how long it takes.
Okay. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any more coming in here, team? Oh, here we go. Derek is wondering, Andrea, I'll send this one your way. What is your favorite part about farming?
Oh, favorite part. I've got a lot of favorite parts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would have to say, though, if I could come into work and say, what would I like to do all day today? It would be being in here. I love being with the mums and helping the babies and being here when they're born and taking care of them and drying them off and making sure they get milk. That's my favorite job on the farm for sure.
I can see why. I'm sure it's pretty amazing to experience, that's for sure. How about you, Craig? Do you want to answer this one too? What's your favorite part about farming?
My favorite part about farming for me is probably the fact that I can farm with my family. And, in summer holidays, my kids come to work. They can come help do chores and being able to pass on that knowledge and information to my kids very easily. There's lots of jobs in this world where the kids can't go to work with mom or dad, right? And this is one of them where you can, and I absolutely love that. And I also love just working with the animals and the variety of the things that you have to do during the day, the week, and the month. There's such a big variety, and it leads to some very interesting days, and that's the variety is another reason I love it.
Definitely. Being a farmer, the two of you have to be kind of jack of all trades almost, eh? Like you have to understand technology and care for the pigs and their health, and you're kind of doing it all, which is really amazing.
Yep.
Really, really amazing. Thanks, you two. Abigail, have you ever had other animals kill your pigs? No. I'll put that one your way, quick.
So in Manitoba, almost all the pigs would be raised inside of a barn.
Mm-hmm.
There are some farms that would have some pigs raised outdoors, but for the most part, almost all the pigs in Manitoba and even Canada, because of the cold climate, the pigs are raised inside of a barn, and other animals can't get inside. So no, I've never had that happen. Yeah.
So very different than like sheep who need guardian dogs and llamas to protect them because they're indoors. There's no need for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. Let's see what else we have coming in here. We got about probably another 10 minutes or so to take some questions here. So Brittany is wondering, and I'll ask you this one, Andrea. Emma, grade 2 student, she's wondering, how many workers do you have on your farm?
Okay. Well, I have 4 other staff plus myself, and one of them is part-time. He comes in 4 days a week, so there are 4 full-time and 1 part-time that we have here, and we all have different jobs to do, and but we stay busy. We could probably use 1 more.
Yeah, I bet obviously I've been to your farm and I think of just how large it is, and 4 people, you guys must be busy.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. Thanks, Andrea. Craig, how about you? I know I mentioned in your intro that you have 9. Is that correct on the south side?
Yes. So including myself, then it would be 10 total.
Okay. And do you mind, Craig, since I have you, what other things do you farm? I know that there's many crops that you're not directly in charge of, but that some of your family members are in charge of. What crops do you grow as well?
Sorry, can you repeat that question? I think my internet was kicking out here.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm just wondering what other crops you raise on your farm other than your hog operation. Did you hear me on that one?
So I think you asked which other crops we grow?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Okay. So on our grain side of the farm, we grow wheat and canola and corn and soybeans. Those are the four main crops that we grow on our farm. And so my employees that I have in the barn only come to the barn. They wouldn't help on the grain side. So, and even for myself, I only help out when it's really busy. I only help out a little bit. Then my cousin Lyle, he does a lot of the work on the grain side, and he's busy there.
Okay. And out of curiosity, Craig, are any of your crops used for any of your feed for your sows?
Yes. Yeah. So all of our corn would be for feed, and all of our wheat would go for feed, and even some of the soybeans would.
Okay.
Yeah. But all, more than half of our crops that we grow would go straight to a feed mill.
Okay. Thanks, Craig. Very neat.
Yep.
All right. Laura Cox's class, Declan, her student, is wondering, how is it possible for the moms to carry so many babies? I mean, I guess up to 40. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Does it depend on the size of the sow, Craig, or
no, it actually doesn't. You can have some sows, some moms where their first time where they're pushing out lots and lots of pigs, and so you can see like this sow right here. You can see there's some nice round bellies there, right?
Yep.
There's some nice round bellies, and they all fit in there. So, and they come out for the most part, if a sow's going to have lots of babies, I think the most we've ever had at my farm is 26 in one litter, and then they come out a bit smaller then. But if you have a sow that has like 5 or 6 or 7, then they come out much bigger.
Okay,
so
more room to grow, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah, because their birth weight will be bigger or smaller depending on how many are in there.
Interesting. I wonder what determines that. I guess it's just kind of luck of the draw with how many babies are.
Yeah. And some sows would have, like, if a sow is going to have lots of babies on her first litter, it's often an indication that she will have lots of babies for her, like, every time she has babies. Whereas a sow that has few, it's not always an indication, but it's often a trend where, oh, this sow, she just doesn't make lots of babies. That's just how it is.
Okay, thanks, Craig. Andrew, I'm curious, just because you're in your farrowing room, after a piglet is born, how quickly does it get up and walk? Just, I'm curious.
Actually, depends if you on a couple of things. Like Craig was saying too, like birth weight. A lot of the time when they're born, they're a little bit bigger. They're a little bit stronger. They can get up a lot quicker. And the littler ones will struggle more with that. But that's why we're there to help, right? So if we dry our piglets and we put them under the heat lamp, it does not take very long. If mom's facing them, they're probably up trying to drink within five minutes. It does not take very long for them to look for food because they're born really, really hungry.
Yeah.
Like they're born just like feed me. Yeah. So they're looking.
Thanks, Andrea. All right, we have a question from Suzanne Weber. Andrea, on your farm, how many pigs are there? What would be your total count,
Okay.
roughly?
We're slightly smaller than Craig's barn. We have 730 sows. We're also farrow to finish. So if we count all the sows and all their babies and all of our nursery pigs and all of our finisher pigs, it's usually around 4,000.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And Craig, do you usually vary around the 3,500 mark?
Yes,
or is that
so
kind of...
I would have around 3,500 moms, and then when all my farrowing rooms are full, I would probably have about 8,000 piglets on the farm at one time. And then,
Wow.
but we don't keep them here for finishing. We bring them to a different barn. It's called a nursery barn.
Mm-hmm.
So once they're weaned off of their mom, we drive them to another barn where they're raised up in a nursery barn.
Okay. And is that other barn nearby to you? Or?
Yes, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 10 miles away.
Okay. Thanks, you two. Wow, that's a lot of pigs. Michelle Ducharme, Craig, I'm going to throw this one your way. Do some of the pigs have names?
So because there's so many moms, we don't ever name the moms because you would never be able to keep track of them. There's so many, but we have a few big boars on our farm, and those guys all have names. And because I'm a pretty big Lord of the Rings fan, their names are, we have a Gandalf, we have a Frodo, a Merry, and a Pippin. So yeah.
That's awesome. How about you, Andrea? Do you have any names for any of your sows on the farm?
Yeah, those two black ones that I was talking about earlier, that's Thelma and Louise. And our boars also have names too. And I get a couple of them in at a time, and I'll try to name them. I know the one time we did a Star Wars theme, a customer had wanted a bunch, and I Star Wars themed those ones. So we had Darth Vader and all of those. We just had, actually, I brought it up to a few weeks ago, and that's Mario and Luigi. Like you just have some fun with it, and then their attitude kind of goes with the name. Sometimes it takes a while to name them, but once you get to know them a little bit, it's a lot easier to come up with names, and it's a lot of fun because they stay here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Like our boars they're like our coworkers. We work with them every day, so you get to know them pretty well.
I bet. Thanks, you two. That's awesome. So I think we have time maybe for one or two more questions. So if there's any more, oh, here we go. Abigail Cross is wondering, do you bathe the pigs? Andrea, do you want to take this one?
No.
No.
No, we don't bath them, but like Larissa, like you said before, they do like to stay clean. Mm-hmm. So really, there isn't a need to bathe them because naturally they're going to want to stay clean themselves. When they get dirty, it's like you were saying in the storybook, sometimes you see that they've been rolling in mud, whatever. Mm-hmm. When they're outside and they need protection from the sun, that's like nature's sunscreen for them, or they want to be cool, that's how they'll do it. But in the barns where they're not laying out in the sun, right? And they've got that air and the whatever to keep them cool. It's not necessary for them to be rolling around and trying to keep it cool. So in the barns, they're pretty clean and we don't have to bath them.
Okay. Thanks, Andrea. All right, let's pull one more in if there's one more to grab. Let's see if one comes up here. Are pigs smart? Craig, do you want to take this one?
Pigs are actually very smart. So if you see this feeding station right here, there's a gate on the inside that will close the gate. So they have to figure out on their own that they have to open the gate to get to the food access. And so that gate's always closed so that they can walk in. But when they walk in and push the gate forward, it closes this gate behind them so that no one else can jump in there and steal their food from them. So they have to figure that out on their own, and they all figure that out. They can smell where the food is, and if they'll see that there's a gate, but they'll stay there and they'll play with it, and then all of a sudden because they can just push it forward with their nose. It's very easy to open and close.
Right.
And I can also remember I watched, it was a documentary. I saw it when I was probably in grade 5 or 6. And there was a pig at university that they had in front. There was a joystick on it. There was a joystick in front of it, and it was a screen. And if it moved the joystick, if it moved the joystick, it moved a button on the screen. And if it got to the edge, it would drop food. And as the pig figured out, it could go to any edge on the screen and it would drop food. But then they put up obstacles on the screen, and the pig had to figure out to move the cursor around the obstacles. And by the time that pig it was almost getting through a maze to get to its food.
Wow.
So they're incredibly intelligent.
So pigs can play video games, basically, is what
Yeah.
you're saying here. Yeah. Amazing. Thanks, Craig. So we're getting near the end here. I don't know, is there a burning question that our team needs to pull in, that I pull in one more, or how are we looking here, team? I think that we might be done. Okay, we're good. So first of all, Craig and Andrea, thank you so much, the two of you, for answering all these questions. There's a lot of neat ones thrown your way, and you guys know a lot about pigs. I'm impressed. I want to thank all the students and teachers who joined us today. We hope that you learned a lot of new things about hog farming and how farmers like Andrea and Craig take so much care in raising their pigs, and how that care translates into healthy meat for our tables. So thank you to the two of you. Teachers, just a reminder, please do head over to the registered teacher page and have your students work through our Follow the Hog Farmers extension activities. Your students can explore a little more about what Manitoba hog farmers are doing to be good stewards of the environment, good neighbors, and provide the best care for their pigs. So be sure to check that out. A reminder that the recording for today's event and all past events that we've held will also be up on the teacher page. So if anyone was unable to join today, you still have access to watch it afterwards. Please feel free, I can't talk today, please feel free to send us pictures of you attending this event or doing any of our Follow the Farmers resources. We would love to see them. And you'll be entered to win a $50 Chapters gift card to buy some new books for your classroom library. I want to thank Penner Farm Services again and Manitoba Pork for their part in making this live stream event and all the resources that go with it a doable and something that we were able to bring to Manitoba students. And most of all, Andrea and Craig, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time through all the practice runs and bringing us to your farm to make this event a reality and to share with students across Manitoba a little bit more about hog farming. I'm sure they learned a ton. So thank you very much. Teachers, keep an eye out for registration for year 2. It's going to be coming out in September for the new school year. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thanks again, Craig and Andrea, and have a great end of the school year, everyone. We'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.